Hi everyone. So my suggestion for you for this video is to go ahead and get comfortable because I'm going to be showing you our 2019-2020 homeschool curriculum picks. And I'm going to try to do this, not quickly, but not take forever doing it. But I usually have all the best intentions to be short and snappy and sweet, but I never am. So get comfortable, get a snack, get a drink, and I'm going to show you what we're going to be using. Now, some of the things that I have are PDFs, which I'm getting print and bound. Some of the things I'm getting print and bound, but I don't have a physical thing to show you guys, so I'm going to show you the books that we're going to be using all year long. So our spine books that we're going to be using as part of our curriculum choices. So first things first, the things that I don't have to show you yet are our PDFs or our what word am I searching for here? I look on my phone. I bought a digital copy and just look on my phone and have been using that until I can get our physical copies. So this year I'm trying something a little bit new. I'm using Build Your Library Level 3, which I've used Build Your Library throughout our homeschooling years. But this year I'm just picking the reading activities and suggestions that I want, only the ones that I really want to use, and I'm using it as our guide for history. And so with that, Build Your Library Level 3 uses Story of the World as the main guide, and also the Usborne, let's see, I can see it across the room, Encyclopedia of World History. I've shown that in other videos. I don't feel like I need to show that again, but it's basically like this huge timeline history book, which is a great reference book to use. So with that, we're using Story of the World. I have Volume 2, The Middle Ages, which we are finishing up. We have maybe a quarter of the book left. So we're finishing up this year, and then we're going to be moving on to Volume 3, Early Modern Times. And this is just our spine that we're going to be using for history. We will be incorporating some historical fiction, read-alouds, and whatever we can find at the library that we're interested in and are interested in incorporating into this. So if we get to a chapter of Story of the World and we're learning about the Native Americans or the Aztecs, Incas, the Renaissance period, or whatever's going on during that time, we'll just go get some books from the library and read about that. And I'm not using any sort of particular curriculum that goes with this. So I'm using Build Your Library Level 3 for that. I'm also going to be using the Blossom and Root curriculum for language arts and science. Yeah. So I got those two things, which I can't show you yet, but I am getting those print and bound, and I will do a flip through if anyone is interested in seeing that. But I'm going to be using those as my guide for our language arts because I love the book selections that I saw in there, and also as our science. So with the Blossom and Root Language Arts, we're just going to be basing that around our read-alouds, which I don't have all of them yet, and some of them I'm going to get from the library, and some of them we've already read. So again, I'm just incorporating the books that I don't want to read from Blossom and Root. I will be using Build Your Library's literature selections and using that. And when I get that language arts guide, I will flip through that and kind of explain how we're going to be using that. But that's going to be our main curriculum for our language arts and reading and things like that, and just doing activities based off of that. And I don't think I have any of our read-alouds to show you. Maybe I can do a separate video on those as well if I can gather as many of them as possible, because my goal is not to buy all of them this year, only buy the ones that I can't find at the library, and then I'll purchase those, the ones that we really want to read. So for Blossom and Root Science, I'm using Level 3. I'm using Level 3 for everything. The language arts, the science, and then the Build Your Library. So for Level 3, it just recently came out, and it is, the science this year is animals. So I chose to do animals this year, and our spine books for our science this year will be Animalium, curated by Katie Scott and Jenny Broom. I'm so happy to finally get this book. I've admired Animalium and Botanicum for several years now, and they're just so gorgeous, but they are, in my opinion, they're pricey because I can't really find them used. And so they're between 20 and 25 bucks brand new, which is kind of a big investment for, I don't know, for me, for just one book for the kids, when I could buy a whole lot of books used for $20 to $25. But I finally bit the bullet and purchased this one, and we're going to be using this as a spine for our science, and it's just a gorgeous book. It's just as pretty as everyone always said it was, and it has just some information on each little section on insects and fish and birds and all sorts of stuff, and it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous book that we're going to be using. I think we'll be using that a lot as inspiration for our artwork, to be honest. Now, the next science spine book that we're going to be using is The Wondrous Workings of Planet Earth, and let's see, who is this by? By Rachel Ignatoff. Here it is, right here. I don't even want to try to say that. Ignatowski. I hope that's entertaining to try to listen to me pronounce that. But there she is right there. And this is just a whole book of ecosystems and the animals and stuff that live in them. And this was a book that was suggested by the Blossom and Root curriculum that I'm going to be using. So it comes with a whole book list, but the way she has put it is, or the way she's arranged it is, it shows the most relevant books that you would probably want to have on hand for the year. And so this is one of them, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful book. I love it. I love flipping through it. All of our science books this year I'm really excited about. So there's that one. And then our last science spine book that we're going to be using all year long is the DK Smithsonian Animal. The Animal Kingdoms as You've Never Seen It Before is what it says on the front. And it actually has like a little broken spine. I bought this used, I think, off of Thrift Books. It's an ex-library copy. Ooh, it's heavy, and I'm trying not to drop it and shake my camera. But again, another great big book of information. Another one that came in the mail, and I flipped through it for like 30 minutes just alone by myself, reading all the little snippets and things. But we're going to be using this all year long, again, as a reference. And I was very pleasantly surprised by this book because it's the one I was least excited about, just because I'm a big fan of gorgeous artwork, but I understand the need for a book with some realistic, photographs and pictures in here. But I was really pleasantly surprised by, I feel like, the value of this book for the money, because it is a big, thick book, and it still wasn't super cheap, even though I bought it used, and it's kind of like broke. But it's big, it's heavy, it's got a lot of info in there, and we'll probably use it way beyond this year. So those are the books we're going to be using for science. Let's see, I've showed you history. To go along with history, because I feel like this ties into it, I'm going to be using In the Beginning, Creation Stories from Around the World, told by Virginia Hamilton and illustrated by Barry Moser. And then I'm also going to be using One World, Many Religions, The Ways We Worship by Mary Pope Osborne. So this ties into history for me. This is supposed to be sort of like our basis for learning geography, which is a tip and is written into the curriculum of the Blossom and Root Language Arts. These were recommended books to use. In addition, if you're wanting to incorporate geography and world religions and history as well. So these books will tie into everything. So we'll read some creation myths from around the world, and then we'll find those things on a map, and of course go down a rabbit trail. Well, there's nothing really to show you, is there? Oh, there we go. Go down a rabbit trail as we want and as needed. And then, let's see, I haven't flipped through this one a ton. The One World, Many Religions. So we're going to be exploring a lot of things with just these 2 books. I think they're going to be great spines and discussion, books that will inspire a lot of discussion and also incorporate our geography and all that good stuff in there. So those kind of tie in with our history. So there's that. And let's see. I'm going to go ahead and move on to art before I get into our math and things like that. So for art this year, I'm not using any particular curriculum. Although I take that back. I am using Build Your Library Level 3. There is art written into that, and I will reference that as I need ideas. And certainly these 2 books, I can't remember if the third one was that I have down here was suggested, but these are part of the Build Your Library Level 3 suggested books to get. And I don't know why I can't say suggested. I have to like really sound it out. So we're going to be continuing to use these. We used these last year just for art discussion and pictures, and we're going to continue. And I have Why is Art Full of Naked People by Susie Hodge, which I think is my favorite art book that I've ever picked up because it has these nice big questions and discussion and the classic artworks to study. And I just like that it's written with questions in there, you know, that you can discuss with your child. Because a lot of times I see artwork and we look at it, but we spend maybe just a couple minutes looking at it, or even if that, and I don't really know what to ask my kids or how to start a discussion with them about it. I know it seems like such a simple thing, but you know, usually I'm just like, do you like it? What colors do you see? What do you see in the picture? So I like this because it's funny, it's humorous, and has humor in it, and the kids really enjoy it. So the next one that we're going to be using with art this year is the Children's Interactive Story of Art by the National Gallery, and it says you can use an app with it. I never have, but if you're interested in that. And it has more classic artworks in there. Kind of goes a little bit more in depth in the history of things, in my opinion. So it's a little bit more dense, and my kids aren't always interested in hearing about the historical periods of the different artworks and stuff. But we will definitely be using it to look at the pictures and read small snippets and things as needed. And I just appreciate books that teach me how to analyze a painting other than just looking at it and noticing the colors or the pictures or what it's about. I really like suggestions on how to analyze art and how to get my kids to analyze art and how we can do that together. So the last thing we're going to be using for art this year is Discovering Great Artists by Marianne F. Cole and Kim Solga, and it's hands-on art for children in the styles of the great masters. Now, I will say, the only thing I don't like about this book is it's all black and white. So even the artwork in here, so it includes history, like small snippets of history about the artist. So this one's Van Gogh. But then there's the picture that you have to look at as an example of Van Gogh's artwork. And that's the only thing I really don't like about this, is that it's not colorful at all. So we definitely need books like these to look at the actual artwork or just pull it up on my phone or something. But other than that, this is a great book, and we're going to be using it a lot more than we did this last year, or at least that is my plan. You can see I've already marked something off. So as we read through these, if there's an artist or artwork or art period that my kids are interested in, I will just go to this book and I will try to find that artist, and I will look at the suggested, there's that word I can't say again, activity, and then we will do the art activity, because I have made a resolution for myself this year that our homeschool, we will be focusing a lot more on art this year than it did last year. I really want to focus on art. We always get to the core things, the reading, writing, arithmetic. So I really want to do more art, and my kids have begged me for more art. And so I hope, toddler willing, that we can get more artwork done this year and more projects and things. So the next thing is math, and the math that we will be continuing this year is Right Start Level D We've used Right Start since the beginning of our homeschool. I think it's a great curriculum. I love how hands-on it is. And this is for my 10-year-old. She will be continuing this book. She started this last year, but we took a big break from it because we found a curriculum or a math book that was written for horse lovers. So it was horse lovers math or something like that. And so we took a big break and did that because she really enjoyed doing math from an all like horse and horse care perspective. But we're back to this until Horse Math 2 comes out. And then I'm sure we'll take a break again. But she enjoys this. It's a good, solid curriculum, very hands-on, and she just does really great with it. Now, for my 8-year-old, she's a little bit more difficult to pin down with what works for her for math because she gets bored very quickly. Yes, even with hands-on, wonderful Right Start, which I personally love. She needs variety, and she needs a lot of review. She needs a lot of review, but also a lot of variety. So it's been kind of hard to find what works for her. So last year we started this cute little book called Do Not Open This Math Book by Danica McKellar. And if you, let's see, is there a picture? Oh, here's a small picture of her on the back. Does anyone recognize her? She is the actress who played Winnie from The Wonder Years, and apparently she went on to major in math and is a math whiz and has written math books, which I so appreciate. So this is a really colorful, cute little math book, and again, it just focuses on addition and subtraction, which she needed work on. And we have been working through this since last year, and she loves this because it has this little cartoon mouse and then the little cartoon, what I suppose is supposed to be Danica McKellar. And they're having these little discussions and talking about the different math concepts and the different ways to practice doing it. And she just enjoys that story element to it. And then the practice part is called Game Time. So we've been working through this. We're actually almost done, and she's sad about it. She wants another book like this. But the other books written by Danica McKellar, she is not ready for. There's no next level up for a book like this, or at least written by this author. So she's a little sad about that. But we're going to be finishing this up. And then we're going to be moving on to this beautiful binder, this old used binder that I just grabbed. And I bought Math Mammoth Level 2B. So the year for Math Mammoth is split up into, well, it's levels, and it's either 2A and 2B or 3A and 3B. So I'm going to start her in 2B, and then here's just what I've printed off so far. It's nothing super fun to show you because she does seem to enjoy worksheets. So that's why I want to get something with a low level investment for her to try out, because she does seem to do fine with worksheets and enjoys those. So I got Math Mammoth Level 2B more as a review and just to see if there's any holes and things that I missed from last year. And then we'll be moving on, if she enjoys it, to Level 3A this year. So I'm still trying to figure out. This is just to get us started and see where we're at and see what she enjoys. And I may have to continue to be creative and still pick and pull from different things and figure out what works for her. We always have Right Start too, if she gets bored of these two things, because she does get bored and request, I want to do a different math. So then we go get a different math, and it's a whole thing, and we're still trying to figure it out. So there's math for both of them. And then the next thing we're going to be using this year is Growing with Grammar. I used this with my 10-year-old back in our first year of homeschool. I used this grammar book. Well, not this exact one, because we used hers and she wrote all in it. But I'm going to be using this with my 8-year-old because I realized at the end of last year that she does not really know much grammar at all. Other than capitalizing, and sometimes she remembers to add a period at the end of a sentence, but that's basically it. And as an 8-year-old who would be in the 3rd grade if she was in public school, I do think it's time to just introduce a little bit more grammar. And this is a really gentle, easy grammar that worked really well with my 10-year-old. So I'm just going to use this with her and see how that goes. And then for my 10-year-old, I have Growing with Grammar Level 5. And my 10-year-old is pretty good with grammar. We took a break from any sort of formal grammar last year. We just used copywork mainly as our source of grammar and just discussing that and talking about the different elements in a sentence. And that works okay, but both of my kids came out last year when they have to take a state test. They have to at the end of the year. And they both suffered a little bit in the grammar department. Even my 10-year-old, who does generally well with grammar, from just using copywork. So just using copywork for grammar doesn't really work to cover all the things for us. So I got this for them. I have used different grammar curriculums in the past, like Michael Clay Thompson, which I love, but I have a toddler in the house. So this is something that's pick up, open and go. We do one sheet at a time whenever we do it. It's a front and back paper, really simple, quick. Let me show you really quick. So here's an example of a page that we would do. We would do the front, and then we'll do the back, and that's that. And I love it. I love how simple and open and go it is, and that's what I need right now, is stuff that they can do independently as much as possible, and quickly, but still get the most important parts in. Now, this will look familiar if you've been around my channel for any length of time. This is our handwriting. We have always used the Getty-Dubay workbooks, which are really affordable and easy to find on several different places online, so you can just shop around for what's going to be cheapest and most affordable. But we use the Getty-Dubay italic handwriting, or the italic handwriting series. And both of these are cursive books. This is level C for my 8-year-old, and then level E for my 10-year-old, and these are actually left over from last year. We're going to be finishing up these books this year and just incorporating handwriting in probably once or twice a week tops, just so they can, mainly so they can learn cursive, because I do want them to continue to practice cursive throughout their school years until I feel like they know it well. Now, the last thing is our poetry. It's not a curriculum, but it's something that we're going to be using all year as a spine, and that is the Poetry of Science book compiled by Sylvia Vardell and Janet Wong. So this is just a big poetry book, and it's all based around science. And this suggestion, again, I got from Build Your Library Level 3, although we won't necessarily be reading or trying to memorize the poems that are in there. I mean, certainly I will look for suggestions, but we're just going to read it, and if we read one and we see one that we really like, we'll work on memorizing that. I do like to memorize poetry with the kids, and this is something we just pick up every day and read out of, and we read the same poem over and over, but also new poems if they want, and just try to memorize it, and it's always fun for them to recite it back at me. So that's what we're going to be using for poetry throughout the year. So I have now shown you everything that we're going to be using for our 2019-2020 school year. So yeah, that's everything we're going to be using. Let me know if you've used any of these things and what you've thought about them, and of course leave suggestions below, especially for the math. If you have a child similar to mine with the math conundrum of being bored, like what's your favorite math curriculum? Just go ahead and leave that below, and what has worked for you if you've had trouble finding something that fits, what finally fit for your family. And again, thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you all again really soon.